Welcome to Chapter 8. In this chapter, you're going to learn how to create logos, menus, business card, packaging, and branding proposal for branding purpose. So, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to create a simple coffee shop logo. So go ahead and download this file from the resource folder. Okay, so first, type the word Hawaii Coffee. I'm currently using the Imprint Empty Shadow typeface. You can use whatever typeface that you prefer. Alright, now let's start by tracing the coconut tree with the pen tool. Now for clarity purpose, I'm going to use a black stroke to trace it. Okay, now select the anchor point tool and curve it. Now select the tree and use the eyedropper tool and make it green. Next, make a copy to the right. Right-click, go to Transform, and click Reflect. Select Vertical and click OK. Now select both of it, go to Window, and turn on the Pathfinder. Select Unite, and both shapes will be combined as one. Alright, now let's draw the next one. Now use the pen tool and draw a triangle. Then use the anchor point tool and curve it. Alright, now place the tree on the top and combine it. Okay, moving on next, let's draw a circle with a green stroke. Then use the scissors tool and cut it into half. Select the upper half and delete it. Now select the pen tool and extend the line. Now create another circle, and this will be the cup handle. Again, use the scissors tool and cut it into half. Select the left part and delete it. Okay, now select the cup, right click, and group them together. Now group everything together to create the logo. Now you should have something that look like this, but the logo is not complete yet. We still need to clear the messy lines within the logo. Okay, now select the cup, go to Object, and click Expand. Select everything again, go to Window, and turn on the Pathfinder. Select Unite to combine everything as one. Alright, congratulations on creating your first logo. Now, let's create a few variation logos for branding purposes. A variation logo is usually called a submark logo, okay? Now let's copy and paste the logo and make it yellow. Now duplicate another one. Okay, so this will be our black and white logo. Let's create a black background and change the logo color to white. Select the background, right click, go to Arrange and Send to Back. Alright, so this is all our variation logos. Now let's create one last variation, and this is usually called a secondary logo. Okay, so first draw a green circle. Select the logo, right click, go to Arrange and bring to front. Now change the logo color to white and bring the green circle to the back. Alright, next, let's draw an oval. Now use the pencil tool and draw an S line between the oval. Now, if you struggle to draw this, make sure you turn the fidelity to the smoothest. Alright, now select a color for the stroke. Now select the shape, go to Window, turn on the Pathfinder, and click Divide. Click and separate it, and you will create a coffee bean shape. Alright, now select the shape and change it to white. Alright, now let's create another circle to type on the path. Select a black stroke and turn off the fill. Place the circle in the middle and type on the path. Alright, now let's type the original. Now let's change the text to white. Select the direct selection tool and reposition it. Okay, now duplicate another one. Now type Hawaii coffee. Alright, now use the direct selection tool and flip the text inside the circle. Alright, so there you go. A beautiful secondary logo. So if you follow the lesson correctly, you should have something that look like this. Alright, so that is all for this lesson. I hope you enjoy it. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Alright, welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create a coffee shop menu. Okay, you can download this file from the resource folder. Alright, now the typeface that I'm using is Nesato and Minion Variable Concept. You can use any typeface that you want. So first, let's make a copy of the coffee bin. Select the bin, right-click, and ungroup it. Ungroup it again. Now make it green. Hold the Shift key and resize it. Alright, now go to the layer panel and turn on the guideline. Okay, now place the coffee bean in the four corners. Okay, align two of the beans, right click and group it. So by now you should have something that look like this. Alright, now let's draw four lines between the beans. Now make this line thicker. All right, now let's type Monday to Sunday and 7 to 7. Or you can put any time that you want. Okay, now go to Layer Panel and turn on the guidelines. All right, now let's create the menu. So the first one is espresso. And this will be a single shot of espresso. Now let's put 250. Now move it to the left, select all the text, and align all the text to the middle. All right, now let's create a few copies. All right, now let's add a few different types of coffee on the menu. Let's put 450 for avocado. Now the next one is latte. Let's put 450 as well. Okay, select the text and align it to the center. Okay, now let's do a macchiato. All right, now the next one is cappuccino. All right, now the last one is mocha. So this will be a shot of espresso and chocolate. Okay, so this will be our coffee menu. Now let's draw a line in the middle. Now select the text and make a copy to the right. And this will be our juice menu. Okay, now let's type apple juice. Okay, now the next one is mango juice. Okay, select the text and use the align tool to align everything in the middle. All right, now the last one is the tea menu. Okay, let's put black tea. Now let's put lemon tea. All right, so there you go. Now this menu is ready to be printed. You can either go to export or you can press Ctrl P to print it. Now another thing you can do is add a pattern. Okay, now create a new layer. Click the color swatches and select the pattern that we have done previously. Now use the rectangle tool to create the pattern. Okay, now lower down the opacity. Now move the pattern layer below the menu layer. Okay, now add some final adjustment. And there you go. So this is how you can create a beautiful coffee shop menu. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson and remember to send me your progress. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create a business card. Okay, as usual, you can download this file from the resource folder. And for consistency purpose, we're going to use the same typeface as in our previous lesson. All right, so first, let's turn on the guidelines layer. Next, Copy the logo from the logo documents. Now paste the logo on the business card and make it smaller. All right, now let's put in your name and your job title. And here you can put your number, websites, and emails. Okay, now let's create a copy. Now let's create a dummy address. Okay, now let's create a line in the middle. And there you go. Now let's draw the other side. Now copy the secondary logo from the logo document and paste it at the back of the business card. Select the green background and delete it. Now use the rectangle tool and create a background. Now make it green. Right click, go to Arrange, and send to back. And finally, apply the pattern on the business card. And there you go, a professional business card that is ready to use. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. All right, welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create a packaging design. Now, based on what you have learned in the previous lesson, try to create a packaging design like this on your own. Create a top, front, and side view for a coffee packaging. Now, once you're done, put them aside and turn on the perspective grid tool. On the top left corner, you will see a box that allows you to choose the sides of the grid. You can also press the number key to switch sides on your keyboard. And here you can adjust the horizon line and the height. Okay, now let's resize the grid. Pull it down below the horizon line. Now make the blue grid smaller. Now click on the perspective selection tool. Then select the left grid on the box. Now all you have to do is place the design on the grid. Now select the right grid. Alright, now select the horizontal grid and place the top part. Now select the perspective grid tool and turn it off. Now all you have to do is go to Effects, select Stylize, and drop a shadow. Alright, so this is how you can create a coffee packaging design rendering. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to the final lesson of this chapter. In this lesson, we're going to talk about branding proposal. Now, with all the previous lesson, you should be able to create a simple proposal. Okay, now a branding proposal is essentially a document that presents the logo design, concept, and design strategy. So let's start with the first page. And this is where you can pitch your logo to your clients. And here you can show different variation of logos and how they can be used digitally or in print. So next, we can talk about the brand goals, like the mission, vision, and purpose. For example, you can say, our mission in Hawaii Coffee is to provide exceptional quality coffee with a touch of aloha vibe, creating a memorable and welcoming beach-inspired experience for coffee lovers. Okay, so just remember, the mission is something that your brand is currently doing. The vision is somewhere you are heading. And the brand purpose is the reason why you created this brand. All right, next, you can talk about all the design elements like the icon, colors, typographies, composition, design style, and overall feel. Next, explain the color scheme with a short description. For example, you can say, green symbolizes the natural landscape of Hawaii. Yellow represents vibrancy and energy. And the color code are palm greens, sunset yellow, pure white, and night black. So next, you can show the typeface and the font that you're using. So just briefly explain to your clients how those typefaces are being used in different applications, like websites, posters, packaging, and so on. All right, next, you can show some pictures that visually represent the feeling that you want for the brand. And this could be the pictures of Hawaii, coffee, palm tree, and so on. And finally, you can show some brand identity mockups, such as the business card, coffee menu, and packaging design. All right, so this is how you can create a simple branding proposal for your client. So I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. Welcome back to another chapter. In this chapter, you will learn how to create both 2D and 3D charts. I will show you how to import your data and create charts like this. So without further ado, let's get started. So welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you will learn how to create basic graph charts. So first, let's click on the graph tool. And here you will see the graph tool options. Now select the pie graph tool and create a pie graph. Now we're going to use this graph to create a simple coffee sales sheets. Just click on the column and type espresso, latte, cappuccino, and mocha. Okay, now let's put 50 espresso, 20 latte, 20 cappuccino, and 10 mocha. And once you're done, just click apply. Now, as you can see, the pie graph has been created based on the number that we have entered. Now here you can change the font and the typeface. So if you want to change the data, just click on the graph data and you can change it here. Now here you have the option to change the graph type, such as column, bar, stack bar, and so on. All right, now let's select the column option. Now, as you can see, it changed to a column graph, but the data remains the same. So go ahead and try all the options and see which one you prefer. Next, we have the recolor option. And this is where you can change the graph color. Just click and drag and you'll be able to change it. All right, you can also change the color in the advanced options. And you can use the preset color as well. Okay, now another thing you can do is import your existing data into Illustrator. All right, now click on Graph Data and click Import. You can download this from the resource folder. All right, here it is. Okay, so these are just random numbers. You can change it if you want. Now click Apply and it will change to a weekly sales chart. Now let's try it on the column graph. And there you go. So this is how you can create different types of graph in Illustrator. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned something new. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to another lesson. In the previous lesson, we have learned how to create different types of charts. Now in this lesson, you're going to learn how to turn this chart into a 3D pie chart. So first, select the graph, then go to Object and ungroup it. So once you ungroup it, you no longer have the option to edit the data. So make sure all your data is correct. All right, now continue to ungroup it until all the parts can be separate. Okay, now go to Color Library, select Gradients and Seasons. Okay, now let's apply the gradient colors. Now once you're done, go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, then Extrude and Bevel. Now your pie chart should become a 3D chart. Alright, so feel free to rotate into any direction that you want. Okay, now let's separate it to make it look more interesting. You can change the materials and the lighting as well. It's the same way that we have done in the 3D text lesson. Alright, now let's change the light direction and lower down the intensity. Alright, so feel free to experiment with different materials and textures. Okay, so this is how you can create a cool looking 3D pie chart in Illustrator. So I hope you learned something new and enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome to the final lesson of this chapter. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create an area chart. So first, reuse the pie chart that we have done previously. Select the chart and click Graph Data. Now import the sample sales data. Now click Graph Type and select Area Chart. Now use the recolor option to change the color. Alright, I'm just going to use the yellow and green color scheme. You can use any color scheme that you want. Now select the chart and ungroup it for a few times. Now you should be able to separate your charts like this. Next, select the charts, go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, then select Inflate. Okay, now let's group them all together. Now let's change the text and the lines to white color. Now use the rectangle tool and create a black background. Now right click, go to Arrange and Send to Back. So this is what you will get with some 3D materials adjustment. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned something new. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Welcome back to another chapter. In this chapter, you're going to learn how to create artwork with different types of grids, such as the rectangle grid, poly grid, and isometric grid. And by the end of this chapter, you'll be able to create professional artwork like this. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create basic grids. So first, let's start by creating a new document. Now put the width and the height 1400 by 1400 pixels. Now select 3 artboards and click Create. Okay, now we're going to use these artboards to create different types of grids. So go to Views and make sure the Smart Guides is turned on. Next, click on the Line Segment tool and select the Rectangle Grid tool. Now just click and drag, and you will create a simple grid. You can resize it to any size you want as well. Next, double-click on the rectangle grid tool to activate the grid settings. So here you can set the numbers of dividers that you want. Let's put 10 on each side. Now click and drag to create the grids again. Alright, now create a new layer. And we're gonna use the pen tool and draw on the new layer. Alright, I'm just gonna use the grid to draw a lightning symbols. Now close the path and apply a color. Now let's create the grids for the second artboard. Now to adjust the grid, you can press F to move the grid downward. Now if you press V, it will move the grids upward. Now if you press X, it will move to the left. And press C to move right. Okay, so this is how you can move the grid lines. Alright, now let's double click on the rectangle grid tool. Set the width and the heights to 1400 by 1400 pixel. Then change the skew level to 12%. As you can see, the grid is being stretched to the right side. Alright, so this is how you can change the grid by changing the skew level. Next, let's try the polar grid tool. Just click and drag and you will create the polar grid. Now if you press F while creating the polar grids, it will shift the polar axis to the left. And if you press V, it will shift it to the right. Press X to move the radial axis inward, and C to push them outward. Alright, now let's double click on the polar grid settings and put 10 on both divider settings. Now you should have a polar grid like this. So this is how you can create different kinds of polar grid with different settings. So next, I'm going to show you how to create an isometric grid. So first, double click on the rectangle grid tool and set the width and the height to 1400 by 1400 pixel. Then put 13 vertical dividers and click OK. Now let's draw the grid. Now double-click on the rectangle grids tool. Type 2800 by 2800 pixel grids. Now put 27 vertical grids and click OK. Now place it on top of the previous grid and resize it to the same width. Now use the Align tool and align it to the center. Now rotate the grid to the right. Go to Properties panels and set 60 degrees for the rotation. Alright, now let's duplicate another one. Right-click, go to Transform, and select Reflect to the opposite direction. Now let's zoom in and readjust it to make sure everything is aligned. Alright, now select the whole grids. Go to Window and turn on the Pathfinder. Then select Outlined. Now your grid should look invisible like this. Alright, now select the grids again. Go to Properties panel and turn the stroke weight to 1. Now select the grids and delete all the extra parts. Now once you're done, lock the grid in the layer panel. Then create a new layer to draw on the top. You can also use it in a different rotation. Alright, so make sure you save this isometric grid for the future lesson. So on that note, I'll see you in the next one. So welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create artwork with grids. So first, open the exercise file from the resource folder. Now select the pen tool and follow along. So just make sure the line and the anchor points is aligned with the grid. All right, now let's continue to draw. Let's make this part yellow. Okay, so this will be blue. Now let's draw a blue triangle on the left. Let's create another one and make it orange. Now select everything, right-click, and group it. Next, copy and paste and rotate it to the opposite direction. Alright, now select both of it and group it. And there you go. So this is how you can create geometric art with grids. You can also turn the grid lines into white to create a tiles effect like this. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create geometric artwork. So first, open up the exercise file from the resource folder. Now press Ctrl R to activate the ruler feature. And if you're on a Mac, press Command R. Now draw two lines with the rulers like this. Now use the pen tool and start drawing from the right corner. All right, so I'm just going to freestyle with this. Just follow along. Again, whatever you do, always remember to align your shape with the grid lines. Okay, now let's copy and paste and rotate it. Okay, now just continue to copy and paste. Now right click, go to transform and reflect it. You can press I to use the eyedropper tool for shortcut. Okay, now just fill in the empty grid like a puzzle. All right, now once you're done, select everything, right click and group them together. Now make a few copies to fill up the artboard. Right click, go to transform and reflect it. Select vertical and press OK. Now create another copy and rotate it. Okay, now delete the guidelines. So this is how you can create beautiful geometric art using the grid. And don't forget to keep practice and send me your progress. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome to the Polar Grid exercise lesson. So first, open up the Polar Grid exercise file from the resource folder. Now select the pen tool and draw an arrow with the grid line. Now select the arrow and change it into orange color. Next, select all the arrows and group them together. Now make another copy and select the rotate tool. Put 30° and place it in the middle. Now continue to make another copy and rotate it to the opposite direction. Next, select all the arrows and group them together. Now duplicate the arrows and fill up the polar grid. So once you're done, turn off the grid layer and you should have something that looks like this. Alright, so you can always change the color or add a background to make it look more interesting. Okay, so that's all for this lesson. I hope you enjoy it, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome to the final lesson of this chapter. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create geometric artwork with an isometric grid. So as usual, you can download this file from the resource folder. Okay, so first, select the grid lines and click on the live paint bucket. Now you should see a red triangle indicating that the triangle is available to paint. So next, press I to use the eyedropper tool to select the color. You can also press K to use the paint bucket tool as a shortcut. So just click and drag to paint multiple triangles with the same color. Alright, so I'm just going to freestyle with this. You can use your own color if you want. Alright, once you're done, use the white rectangle tool to draw a frame on the side of the grid. Now cover the top and the bottom as well. Next, select the grid and turn the stroke weight to 0. Now select the whole thing, go to Object, Expand, and uncheck the Fill and Stroked. Alright, now go to Window and turn on the Pathfinder. Click Merge to merge all the lines and the shapes together. Alright, now all you have to do is make a copy to the left. And there you have it. And this is how you can create a beautiful isometric artwork. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson and remember to send me your progress. And on that note, I will see you in the next one.